All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to the Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell. Inside the Starcade Media Studios, my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
We hope that you guys can hear us loud and clear, hopefully more clear and loud at the same time. We've had nothing but issues with StreamYard today, so we apologize for the delay of the show. Please let us know in the comments if you guys are hearing us good, if we're loud and clear. We don't want to just be loud. We want to make sure that you guys can hear us with a good quality sound, because that's what you guys deserve to have on our shows. We like to pride ourselves on a good quality show, so hopefully that is what you're getting on your end. Like I said, we've had nothing but issues. Today, we'd like to personally thank StreamYard for these issues, because we've had nothing but problems today on that side of things. So we are hoping that we can get through the show and that we can have an awesome show for you guys, because we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot that's going on in the world of sports and the NFL on the football side of things with the Chiefs. You guys know how the season's been going so far, so we'd love to hear from you guys and all together. So whether you're a live streaming podcast or YouTubing, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us at this time. I apologize if I sound a little stuffed up. 'Tis the season. You guys know how it gets. Sometimes when the weather's up and down, people get a little stuffy, and that is me right now. So just bear with me on that as well. I apologize for all these things that are going on at once, guys. But yeah, we're here. We're live, Trev. It's been a fun week for both of us in a very sarcastic manner. How are you hanging tough, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, man. I'm doing all right. It's overcoming allergies. It seems like every day, but no, it's a long. The first week back from vacation to work is always a bitch. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just getting through that. I made it. You know, I'm here. I'm here to talk some ball now, bro. So hopefully, you know, to get these technical video or sound issues and technical video. I mean, everyone in the chat saying we sound good, so let us know if we're glitching a little bit though, because I mean, on our end, I'm very glitchy on the video side.
It does look like we're doing the robot, yes.
So let us know if that looks bad, but if we sound okay, I guess that's the main thing.
That is the main thing, but we apologize if we're glitching. We know that you guys very much care about the way Trevor and I move our bodies, yeah. So that is a very important thing, because we like to give you guys a very sensual show as well. We were thinking about doing the show without a shirt on today, but because of the fact it was glitching, it doesn't really make sense to do that, because then it just looks like Magic Mike 3, and we don't want to get too steamy up in this bitch. Yeah, so we're having fun already, guys. Like I said, we have a lot to get to. We don't want to waste any more of your guys' time, because like I said, we've already wasted almost an hour of everyone's time this morning. So without further ado, Trevor, it is time for Lance Rants. So week 9 was an absolute adventure, as you guys know. Trevor and I talked a lot about this Chiefs-Bucks matchup and how we felt very confident about the Chiefs in this one. We felt that this was going to be a game where the Chiefs were going to take care of business. I told you guys to hammer the -9.5 because I felt that the Chiefs had every advantage in this game possible. I felt that the Chiefs' defense was going to be able to stifle the Buccaneers' offensive attack, even though it's been very efficient, very deadly this year. Without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I felt like it was one of those get-right games. We knew that there was going to be rain. We knew there was going to be issues in the forecast that could maybe hinder both teams. But overall, I felt that the Chiefs, with D-Hop second week in, it's going to go well. And what do you know? First drive, Chiefs are moving the ball downfield. Offense looks great. And we have an error with the young pup, Xavier Worthy. And we're going to talk about him in just a little bit, but that kind of set the night off. The Chiefs played very well offensively overall. Had over 400 yards of offense, scored 30 with overtime, and they scored 30 for the first time all season. But it did take overtime for them to score 30 points. But yeah, all in all, this game was an unnecessarily stressful one, if you guys will, because the fact that I felt that the Chiefs' defense had their worst game of the season. I don't know if Trevor would agree with me on that one, but I felt that there was a lot of soft play. I know they were blitzing a lot. It wasn't that they didn't play aggressive. It was the fact it felt like once the ball was out of Baker's hands, it felt like a lot of times the Chiefs weren't really giving it their all. It felt like they were trying to stop the play before it began. The guys were there at the point of attack. But it felt like a lot of times when guys were getting these underneath dump off screens or these little runs, it felt like a lot of times the Chiefs were just very disoriented. And I didn't really understand what that was. I felt like maybe Spags was trying to bait them into something, because I'm always trying to give Spags and his defensive unit the benefit of the doubt. That's why I'm not going to crush them here. They only give up 24 points, and if you're giving up 24 points with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, you're going to win 80-90% of the time. Having said that, though, this was, I think, by far their worst game, and it would have made sense had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin been healthy. But when you have, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺𝙸 and a bunch of dudes, it's pretty frustrating to watch when everything is underneath and you still can't stop it. So that was the one thing I took away from this game negatively that I didn't really appreciate from the way the Chiefs played. I don't know if you saw it the same way or not, Trevor, but that's kind of how I saw it, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, and look, we're down pieces. The Chiefs defense is down pieces. And look, the outside of that Denver Broncos game, the Bucs have put up points every single week against every single team. And they've played a pretty good schedule. They played against a lot of talented teams. So, I mean, the Bucs and the offense coordinating over there has been incredible this year. They've found ways to score in all different kinds of ways with all different kinds of players. So I'm going to give them credit first. But yeah, that last drive did it for me. I know in our text thread when they put together that last drive to go tie the game up, I couldn't believe how bad our defense looked.
Right.
I know we were gassed, but at the same time we were there was no excuse for that. Like that's usually the time where our defense shows up the most. So listen, our defense looked human for the first time basically this year, where we looked pretty vulnerable. Because overall we haven't looked that vulnerable to this point. And like you said, it gets a bunch of Jags out there, Sterling Shepard, old ass out there, catching circus catches on us, and and it looked bad. But they were attacking, everybody else other than Trent McDuffie, so our corners were kind of getting it a little bit. We couldn't get the pressure that we wanted for the majority of the game. We had a couple good pressures up there. George Karloff just did his thing. Chris Jones always is doing his thing. But we're just lacking some depth, I think, at this point. And listen, like I said, I'm going to give that Bucs offense respect because they found ways to score every single week. And this was just a kind of a letdown spot for our defense, statistically anyways. Giving up that many points to a banged-up team is unacceptable, and they know that. So, but for me, man, yeah, I mean, it was one of probably the worst performance so far of the defense this year, and had to come against a team that we probably should have dominated a little more than we did.
Absolutely. And just before we move any further, I don't know if you guys noticed, Trevor and I are wearing the exact same hoodie. This was not planned, by the way.
Yeah.
This was not something Trevor and I had tried to coordinate. We just love our people over there, Big Charlie's, very much over in South Philly. So our South Philly fam, we always represent you guys. We know you guys represent us. If you guys are watching today, we apologize for the glitch and the audio problems, but I hope you guys are being able to sift through that and know that we love you guys very much. I was talking to Laura, I was talking to Mikey this last week. Still very much planning on getting out there and hanging out with you guys very soon. That is something we have to get done. If you guys have not gotten out there, if you've not supported our South Philly fam out there at Big Charlie's, you got to change that today. You got to change that this year. Those are our people out there, man, so we'll just give them a shout-out. That is why we're rocking the hoodies today. So, so the defensive side of things aside, we can give them this game as a pass. I think that this is also something that we have to look at, Trevor, when it comes to the fact that the Broncos and Bills are on the schedule afterwards. This is an NFC opponent. Maybe Spags didn't want to put his best recipes out there. Maybe that's something that we, can sit here and use as an excuse or as an explanation as to why they didn't look their best. I can live with that, especially if they go out there and play against the Broncos really sharp and play against the Bills really sharp. Then we can sit here and say, okay, now we understand it. And you're right, there are bodies down, but for the most part, the Chiefs' defense, their core and key pieces are still out there. And for me, I hold them to a high standard, so I give them a D- on this one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not dragging them or anything like that. Every defense has bad games, and if this is their bad game, then I'll fucking sign up for that. Now, the offensive side of things, this is what I want to talk about. And shout out to G-Pig, Ruben DeCruz for being in the chat. Appreciate you guys being here and helping us out and letting us know how things are looking and how things are sounding. We appreciate you guys. Keep us updated and get your questions and comments, concerns, all that stuff in there as well, guys, because you guys know in the middle of every single show we do Speak It, where we get to you guys' questions, your comments, whatever you guys have. We'll get some comments throughout the show, but Speak It is where we get to your guys' questions in particular. So hang tough with that as well. But Trevor, if we go ahead and put this on the screen real quick, the thing that I'm learning more and more about Patrick Mahomes, because you feel like you're getting to know the players more and more each and every season as they mature, as they evolve. And the thing that I'm learning more and more about Patrick Mahomes is he is becoming more of a winning player every single season, if that makes sense. He's doing the things that winners do. It isn't just about the shock and awe anymore. It isn't about him doing the oohs and ahs. That's kind of where Josh Allen is still stuck. He makes all these awesome plays. Lamar Jackson, these guys, just marvelous to watch. They're so fun to watch. They do all these incredible things, but do they make the winning plays when it matters the most? That's where Patrick Mahomes now is. He is evolving his game to let me focus on taking care of business when it matters the most. And when does it matter the most? On 3rd and 4th down and in the 4th quarter. So we look at the slide right here, guys. This is Patrick Mahomes on 3rd and 4th downs this season. He's completing nearly 68% of his passes, 550 passing yards, 6 touchdowns to 1 interception, with a 113 quarterback rating. That's the best quarterback in football when it comes to 3rd and 4th downs. He's also the number 1 quarterback in the NFL in fourth quarter and overtime. He has the highest quarterback rating. He's in top 5 in just about every single stat. He's the only quarterback that can say that this season. And it'd be one thing if he had DeAndre Hopkins all season long. But as we all know, guys, he hasn't even had him for 3 weeks. So this is Patrick Mahomes at his best. When they have to have it, when they got to get it, that's when Patrick rises to the occasion, the rise of Mahomes, if you will. We know that he's had spectacular, stockpiled stats and seasons. He's made these incredible left-handed throws and all these weird creative plays that only Houdini could have come up with. But that's no longer what Patrick focuses on. Even though he can still do it, still does it. That's not anymore what we focus on when it comes to what Patrick Mahomes is. What Patrick Mahomes is a player that finds ways to win. And that's exactly what happened in this Bucs game, because what have we talked about all season, Trevor, about how the offense has got to alleviate some of the pressure off of the defense. Could you imagine the Chiefs coming into this game without DeAndre Hopkins and the defense playing like that? The Chiefs do not win this game. They do not win this game. The Bucs would have beaten the Chiefs if the Chiefs did not go trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Because for the first time all season long, the Chiefs needed their offense to rise to the occasion and win them the game. And that is exactly what they did. The Chiefs have the best I don't know if you knew this, Trevor. The Chiefs have the best 3rd down conversion rate. It's 54%. Through 9 games, they have the best through 9 games since the 2011 season. Their offense is doing it when it matters the most, and it all starts with Patrick Mahomes.
That's something we struggled with a lot last year, too, especially 3rd and short.
Right.
3rd and 15s and shit, we'd figure that out, but we'd always struggle on like the 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3s. We'd do something too cute. Now we're just... Honestly, I think it's really been a lot of the help has been from the addition of Kareem Hunt.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's my next point. So, as we saw, Kareem Hunt, 28 touches, 117 total yards with 1 touchdown.
Unbelievable.
And we had the game-winning touchdown right at the in overtime. Put this bad boy to bed.
Like
you even heard the
1995 running back.
Yeah, you saw the audio. I don't know if you heard the audio, but Patrick said, "Let's run it, let's run it."
Yeah,
and Kareem told him, and when he found here the call, "Get ready, boys. We're winning this game."
Just went there,
just
jump cut,
tiptoed right into the fucking end zone.
Jump cut, yeah.
Put the bad boy to bed. 28 touches.
Dude, he has been... I'm telling you, he's getting fed like a 1995, 2000s, early 2000s running back. Some LJ, Priest Holmes type workloads. Right?
I did this thing. I get bored sometimes, Trevor, so I always like to look at numbers. And I did the comparison of Kareem Hunt in 2018 to now. That season where he was going to have an historic season.
That's
so look,
wild.
you can put that slide up real quick for the people that haven't seen this on Twitter that I put it out there. It's at Lance Spoken, by the way. Kareem Hunt through 5 games in 2018 had 93 rushes for 376 yards, 5 receptions for 66 yards with 5 total touchdowns. Kareem Hunt through 5 games this season, 111 rushes for 414 rushing yards, 7 receptions for 51 yards, and 5 total touchdowns. He is the exact same player from a production standpoint. He may not be the same athlete, because that was 6 years ago. He's a 23-year-old kid. But from a production standpoint, he is literally the same exact player. This is why I told you guys all these years, anybody that's been following me, I told you guys the Chiefs needed to go and get Kareem Hunt back. Because he is the perfect running back in this offense, even at his advanced age. What did I say, Trevor? What was the example I made, the comparison I made, rather, when the Chiefs got Kareem Hunt back? I said, who's been the most effective running back for the Chiefs for the last 3 seasons? Jerick McKinnon. What was Jerick McKinnon's ability? Jerick McKinnon was able to make plays in and outside of the box, in and outside of the structure. He can catch passes outside. He can run. He's effective at all 3 downs. That is Kareem Hunt times 2, though. Kareem Hunt is the better player. You're now seeing that. Jerick McKinnon could never dream of carrying the ball 27 times in a game for the Chiefs. Yeah. He would be destroyed because he's not big enough.
Right.
Kareem Hunt is 5'11", 6 foot, 225, 230 pounds. He's a big running back. And he's nimble. He has the ability to do everything the Chiefs offense needs him to do. This is why they should have never let him go back in 2018, but I digress. The point is, this man saved the Chiefs offense this year. He may have saved the Chiefs season. Because weeks before D-Hop ever got here, or even heard rumors of D-Hop coming to Kansas City, Kareem Hunt was out here carrying the load, literally, for Isaiah Pacheco. And now we're hearing that Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back in the coming weeks. This is only going to get better, guys. Because Kareem Hunt's going to get fewer touches, but he'll be equally as efficient. Because Isaiah Pacheco is going to be the one that gets those running between the A's and the C gaps, where now Kareem Hunt can be utilized the way that he's actually better at, which is catching passes in the flat, which is running on the outside of things, not taking all these heavy hits all the damn time. He can stay fresh for the postseason now and get Isaiah Pacheco back into his health and back into the swing of things. It's a two-headed monster they'll have in the backfield, and that excites me no end. And it all stems from the D-Hop effect, Trevor, when it comes to what is happening back to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, quite frankly. So let's put that next reel up there real quick, Trevor, when it comes to Patrick's production. So Patrick Mahomes this season before the D-Hop trade, if you look right here, 68 completion percentage, that's really good. 232 yards per game, 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions with an 82 quarterback rating. Patrick Mahomes this season since the D-Hop trade, his percentage went up 6 points. 74% completion percentage, 277 yards per game, 5 touchdowns to 1 interception with a 107 quarterback rating. Isn't it wild how what I've been saying all along, Trevor, was exactly what it was? If you give Patrick Mahomes a wide receiver 1, Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes. Isn't that wild how that works? It's wild. It's wild to me how you give him a guy that can go make the plays, and all of a sudden this offense is back. All of a sudden they're playing at their best.
All of a sudden he has his first multi-touchdown or 3+ touchdown game.
Yeah. You know that, okay, D-Hop had 2 catches in the end zone, in the red zone rather, 2 touchdowns in the red zone, right? You know that's the first Chiefs wide receiver to have 2 touchdowns in the red zone since 2021? 3 full seasons.
Damn.
This man has changed. I said, Trevor, last season, and I stand by this to this day. In fact, I feel better about it now than I ever did before. D-Hop is the most complete, best receiver Patrick Mahomes has ever thrown a ball to. Tyreek Hill is the most dynamic player he's ever thrown a ball to. But Tyreek Hill does not have the same skill sets that D-Hop has. The reliable hands that he has. You think Tyreek Hill's making that catch in the DB meetings they had back there?
The profile, too. I mean, the profile matters. His height and his size. Yeah. He's a dominant force. Tyreek was dominant in different ways, but he didn't have the size profile that D-Hop has. And I find it funny, too, a lot of times now that we're hearing all these oohs and ahs about D-Hop and how, we love him here, and this is a great fit, and he's unlocking Patrick Mahomes again, or unlocking certain things that Patrick Mahomes can kind of do, why he trusts an alpha receiver again. We've been on the show pressing this for 3 whole seasons, and everyone's giving us shit. He's washed. He has bad knees. Blah blah blah. Like, why would you go and get him? Like, there's so many other better options out there. We've been banging the table for D-Hop for 3 seasons now, and now everyone must act like he's the savior. We knew it. We voted him the whole time, bro. It's hilarious. Just like let alone the talking heads around here in the city, but like fans in general now are like, it's hilarious, man.
Just like how I was getting DMs. I'm not going to name them.
Yeah.
But I was getting DMs from other content creators that think they know everything.
Give it up, bro.
Oh yeah, I've gotten blocked from friends that were content creators. They blocked me for my D-Hop takes. I'm glad that worked out well for them.
Yeah.
I also guys that I won't name because I still love and respect them, even though they don't feel the same about me. DM me saying, bro, you got to give up this Cream shit. He was a fucking asshole. This he's useless. All these other things that you guys can feel like you want to. I'll never attack you for saying you didn't want Cream back, but don't jump on the bandwagon now. Don't sit here and act like everything's cool now, and that you never said those things. I still have the receipts. I'm just saying, but even from a Travis Kelce's perspective, Trevor, I mean, let's look at that. on that slide.
Gotcha.
Travis Kelce's 14 receptions versus the Bucs was the most by any player that's 35 or older. And I'm not talking about tight ends.
Washed.
I'm talking about anybody ever. 14 receptions for 100 yards Travis Kelce had against this Bucs team. Now you can say, well, that was an anomaly. And you're probably right. But you cannot tell me, guys, because if you look right here, and I have the stats to show you guys, before the D-Hop trade, Travis Kelce was on pace to finish this season with 85 receptions for 697 yards and 0 touchdowns. That's not a Travis Kelce season. Since the D-Hop trade, Travis Kelce is pacing for 132 receptions for 1,045 yards and 6 touchdowns. You cannot tell me that's a coincidence. Now, is Travis Kelce going to have those numbers? No. He's not going to have 132 receptions. But now, could I see Travis Kelce flirting with 1,000 yards? Yep. Could I see Travis Kelce getting 6 touchdowns? Yep. Could I see Travis Kelce flirting with 90-plus receptions now? Yep. He's already at 52 with 9 games to go. His usage is starting to go up because they're getting closer and closer to the postseason. That's what's going to happen. And now that D-Hop is on this team, and they have a reliable factor like that on this team, now Travis Kelce is going to be open a lot more. He's going to be going against more linebackers than safeties or number one corners. That's what's the reality of this situation. So I told you, Trevor, even if D-Hop's numbers aren't great, Travis Kelce's numbers are going to go up. Someone's numbers are going to go up. And this offense is going to get better simply because one man's on the field. Now, this is another side I want to show you guys, and this is the most important part. It's red zone scoring, as we were talking about just a minute ago.
Yep.
So if you look at this right here, before the Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins, they were 25th in red zone scoring. Since trading for DeAndre Hopkins, they're 7 of 8 in the red zone. And like I said earlier, D-Hop is also the first Chiefs wide receiver to catch 2 touchdowns in the red zone in a game since 2021. Now, you guys remember my stat prediction, because like I said, his production isn't even the most important part. It's just him, his presence, his aura, his respect.
Yep.
But I did make my prediction. We can put that prediction up there real quick. This is what I said a couple weeks ago. My stat predictions for DeAndre Hopkins with the Chiefs this season: 57 receptions for 673 yards and 7 touchdowns. A lot of people said those touchdown numbers were lofty. He's already a third there.
Right. I didn't think it was crazy at all, bro. I even said to you when you first told me about these numbers, I was like, I feel like that's honestly pretty humble.
Yeah.
Like, Pat finally has a guy he can trust in the wide receiver room, like, consistently, So I think a guy that has the most important thing is the ability to catch difficult balls and catch balls in general on a consistent level. So
if you look at those numbers, remember those numbers: 57 receptions, 673 yards, 7 touchdowns. Let's look at the next slide, Trevor. DeAndre Hopkins, through 2 games with the Chiefs, has 10 receptions for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he plays all 9 remaining regular season games, he will pace for 57 receptions for 638 yards and 11 touchdowns. So his touchdowns are actually higher than I expected, but I was only 2 receptions off and about 35 yards off from my initial prediction of what he's pacing for right now. In other words, we know that D-Hop is going to be an effective piece of this offense no matter who they're facing, no matter who else is on the field.
right.
He is a difference maker. He is a wide receiver 1. That is what this looks like. We haven't had one in a while because Tyreek Hill's been gone for a few seasons. Now we remember. And personally, I think this is an upgrade because, like I said, Tyreek's a more dynamic athlete. He makes more wow plays. But D-Hop does the things that are simplistic but yet insanely effective. You guys remember the first touchdown he had in the back of the end zone? We knew it was coming, right? He runs that over route. Travis Kelce runs the under route. But the way that Patrick was baiting the Travis Kelce throw, it brings that safety in the back end in, and D-Hop is wide open in the back of the end zone. Then the second touchdown, you see D-Hop on a one-on-one on the left side. He makes one twitch to the middle, and Patrick's already got the ball on his hip. That chemistry's already there. 2 games in. These are things that usually take months to get down. But this is a guy that fits this offense seamlessly, and this is a quarterback who's been dying to have a guy like this, and that's why you're seeing this production. Now, I did warn Trevor this was going to be something we discussed briefly today, because although Chiefs are 8-0, you know what I mean, and we feel really good about them moving up to 9-0. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. But as I told you guys at the beginning of this game against the Bucs, we saw the Chiefs moving the ball fluidly. It looks like, okay, Obviously, they're going to score a touchdown on this drive. They're just, you just get those vibes. The way that Patrick's throwing the ball, the fluidity, the call playing. You're like, the Chiefs are about to punch this bitch in. Like, I don't even care how they do it. It's going in. And then Xavier Worthy's play, who was schemed wide open on the left side. Patrick puts the ball up there perfectly. And Xavier Worthy drifts out of bounds and steps out of bounds multiple times. He could have moonwalked into the end zone. There was no one within 15 yards of him. He was wide open. Now, I'm not going to crush him for that play in particular, even though that was a very boneheaded play. But the thing that resonated with me on that one, Trevor, was something that I've been slowly starting to feel. Because, as we talked about before, Trevor, last season, Rashee Rice, coming into the season, no one put high expectation on him. He's a rookie, second-round pick. There was other guys on this team like Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, that were expected to carry the load at the wide receiver position. So no one was sitting here going, all right, man, day one, Rashee's got to be the dude. No one was. But as the season progressed and you're about 5, 6, 7 weeks in, you're like, okay, Kadarius Toney is terrible. He cannot stay healthy, and he drops everything. Sky Moore's doing absolutely nothing except just running routes. He's doing nothing. Rashee's got to start. They have to turn to Rashee. And then by like week 8, he started running those shallow crossers, those mesh routes. And he became this effective, deadly yak yard guy. And then it changed the offense. It saved the offense. It gave them another option outside of 34-year-old Travis Kelce. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs had a wide receiver. Now that you're looking at this season, and there are more reliable assets at this position than there were last year for Xavier Worthy to learn around. You have D-Hop, literally. That alone negates any comparison between this season and last season. We're 8 games in, I should say. And I don't feel like we're seeing any adequate progression from Xavier Worthy. Now, again, he is a rookie. And I'm not going to sit here and crush him as if he's a 5-year, 6-year veteran. But the expectations are starting to grow naturally because now he's 2 months into his NFL career, and the pressure isn't anywhere near on him than it was on Rashee last season, who was a second-round pick. And let's remember something. We have to contextualize the comparison here. Xavier Worthy was not only a first-round pick in a stacked wide receiver room or wide receiver draft class, he was a guy the Chiefs traded up for in the first round. This is a guy they not only wanted, they looked at him as a need. They looked at him as a guy that's going to fit this offense and be the dude. You don't trade up in the first round for guys that are not going to be the dude in your eyes. So the expectations of Rashee Rice's rookie season and Xavier's are two completely different things. Now, you could say, well, the numbers so far are pretty similar. And they probably are. I haven't honestly looked at them. And if you have a Trevor, go and show me of what Rashee's was in his first 7-8 games to Xavier's first 7-8 games. All I do know is, last week, in a game that the Chiefs needed Xavier Worthy to step up and make a play, he had 27 yards. 27 yards. So, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last week he had 0 yards, but I think he has 27 yards in his last 2 games. Yeah, that's correct. My bad, I had it written down incorrect.
Yeah, negative total yards.
He had negative 10 yards in this game.
Yeah.
0 catches. What is happening? Where's the development? The pressure's not on you. You're getting schemed open. The plays are there for you. Now, I know he has 5 touchdowns, but let's be real, Trevor. We've seen him make most of his plays on gimmicky plays. That's not what he was drafted to be. They didn't draft him to be a gimmicky guy. Now, I'm going to show you this real quick, Trevor. We can put this on the screen. So, I got a player A and a player B comparison, okay? Do we have that slide?
I'm not sure if I have the actual comparison.
Okay, well, okay, so, hold on. So, this is, so that's player A. Player A, 26 receptions for 538 yards and 6 touchdowns. This is their rookie season. This is a rookie season. 26 receptions, 538 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. Player B is 40 receptions. This is their pace. 40 receptions, 499 yards, 6 touchdowns. Who's player A? That'd be Mecole Hardman in 2019. Player B is Xavier Worthy's pace for his rookie season. Now again, player A, Mecole Hardman, had 16 games in his rookie season. They didn't have the 17th game yet. And he was also fighting for production behind prime Travis Kelce, prime Tyreek Hill, prime Sammy Watkins. Demarcus Robinson was there. They had about 4 other guys in that passing game that were getting options before him or just as much as him. And he still put up 538 yards and 6 touchdowns. He averaged over 20 yards per reception that season. At this current time, Trevor, Xavier Worthy's going to have 6 touchdowns on his pace, which is fine. I'll take that. But 40 receptions for 499 yards when you're option 2 or 3? I don't understand that. This is not okay. The numbers, when I first made my projections this season, with Hollywood Brown included, because I thought he was going to be healthy, I had Xavier Worthy around like 675 yards, 6-7 touchdowns. That would be a really good season in my eyes. As a guy that's like wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 in his rookie year, I can live with that. What I can't live with is games where he eggshells or does negatives. I can't live with that, Trevor, this far into his rookie season. In a game the Chiefs needed him to play good. Because like I said, they're relying on him on the first drive. That's a scripted drive. That's telling me they had him in the game plan. But when they see him step out of bounds on a play like that where he is wide freaking open, Andy Reid's going to go, well, we can't go to that well right now because he's not showing me he can get it done. Because what happened in week 1? They threw him that touchdown, remember, wide open, they schemed him wide open, and then later in the game they did it again on that out route. It's because Andy Reid's like, oh, he's on it tonight. He's got his shit together. That's something to build off of. But since then, I haven't felt like Xavier Worthy's grown in his role yet. I don't want to sound overly critical here, Trevor, but I think it's fair to sit here and demand that a first-round pick the Chiefs traded up for starts to develop his game a little bit more, especially when the offense seems to be taking off. It'd be one thing, like I said, Trevor, if this was last season, and Xavier Worthy was a rookie last season, and all these guys were inept and there was nothing going on, like, well, Xavier Worthy's learning. He has nothing around him. But that wasn't an excuse we gave Rashee halfway through the year. Rashee learned and became. They found a way to utilize his skill sets. So what the Chiefs have got to do is figure out a way, because it's got to be a mutual thing. They've got to figure out a way to utilize Xavier Worthy's skill sets, and Xavier Worthy's got to start flourishing. He's got to become a guy in this offense. Do I believe he can be? Yes. But these are some of the worries I've had, Trevor, since the beginning when I heard the Chiefs wanted to get Xavier Worthy in the draft. He's not a big guy to go up and get balls. He's not a guy that can break tackles. He's not a physical player. So you have to limit the way you play him. That concerns me if this is a guy that you took in the first round. He's a guy you have to get out in space all the time. Those are timing players. Those aren't guys that you can just throw the ball to 11, 15 times a game. They're not built like D-Hop. They're not built like Rashee Rice. That's why I like bigger receivers. So I'm not trying to go too much on a tangent here because I do believe this kid can grow and become a deadly player in this offense. I do believe that. But right now I'm not impressed. And I need to see more from him. What are you taking away so far from Xavier Worthy, from this game, from the season so far? And what's your forecast on him right now, man?
I mean, obviously an awful game, and I couldn't have been more wrong in my prediction of this being a blow-up game for Xavier Worthy. I think that could have opened the floodgates if he did actually hold on to that ball and touch opening drive. I mean, I would have been feeling really good about myself on that call. But that's not what transpired, and they kind of went away from him after that. And listen, man, there's going to be growing pains, dude. I'm not worried about Xavier Worthy at all. I mean, if you got to give him the benefit of the doubt here a little bit too. He came into this season with an expectation to be around 2 other receivers that were going to be the alphas in this offense. Both of them are gone. Now they traded for an absolute all-time alpha receiver. Yep. And he's, now they're trying to get more Travis Kelce more involved. They've had to change up the scheme a lot of ways. Bringing in Kareem Hunt, we've become far more of a run-heavy offense than we've ever been in the Patrick Mahomes era. So I just think there's a lot of things that were thought that they were going to do. I think that have kind of stunted his growth a little bit as far as what the plan was and how to utilize him. And it looked good to open the year. And after the changes have happened and all these different roster moves and things like that, I mean, I think it makes sense for him to kind of take a step back a little bit because I think they've had to kind of tamper the expectations and how the usage is going to be because there's less around him. Now there's more around him. Now bringing in D-Hop, now he's going to be the guy a little bit more. I think we just kind of need to take our time a little bit, man. Like, he's not Rashee Rice, very different skill set. Rashee Rice's skill set to take off the second half of that year last year made a lot more sense because that filled a role that we really needed with a lot of those underneath stuff. That's not him. That's not Xavier. So I'm expecting him to build that connection downfield, and we've seen it in the time. We saw that in that game against the Chargers earlier this year. that deep shot that worked out. So I think we'll see some more of that. I think just getting him more touches. I haven't really been impressed with how Andy Reid's drawn up stuff for him. I like I was texting you guys during the game. There was no excuse in that game plan offensively. I know we played well offensively in that game. I'm not going to act like we didn't. D-Hop did his thing. Kareem did his thing. Pat did his thing. But against that shitty secondary of the Bucs, I was really confused that we didn't utilize the speed of Xavier Worthy. Just getting just pop passes or something. Oh, give him the ball in space to Xavier Worthy and let him just absolutely annihilate that slow secondary and awful, unexperienced secondary of the Bucs. It was very confusing to me that we didn't feed the kid. Like, that's something we really could have exploited, and I really felt like we didn't do that at all. And I know he had that blunder to start the game. That's something you just got to look past. That's growing pains of a rookie who, honestly, I think one of his biggest struggles is field awareness, spatial awareness. And that's something you can easily fix. And especially coming from college, there's differences with the 1 foot in type shit that you got to have to get over. I think the kid is smart. I think he's an elite athlete. He's gonna need to put some size on him a little bit, sure. But my expectations for him moving forward, I think he's going to have a really good second half of the year, personally. I really do. I think Andy Reid's going to figure out ways to really get him, especially with the way this rest of this schedule shakes out and who we're playing. And I think, honestly, I know I called it last week, but I know jumping ahead of this show, I think this is another great spot for Xavier Worthy to really expose the middle level of this Broncos defense, which is the weakness of their defense as well. Great defense, but the linebackers, you get him a matchup on a linebacker, you better get him the ball. I'm pretty neutral with Xavier Worthy. I'm really tempering my expectations. Obviously, he's a first-round pick. We traded up to get him, like you said. But there's been so much things in flux, so much changes, so much unexpected things that have happened in this season that have really probably thrown him for a loop, thrown Andy Reid for a loop on how he wants to utilize him. Alongside Juju going down. Everybody, there's just been so much things, so much change every week. Every week it feels like. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. The plan has changed so much this year, how we're going to attack things offensively. So it's not all his fault, I don't believe, but I do think he has some personal things he needs to work out. Like I said, the field awareness shit, and but he is efficient, man. When he gets the ball, he's very efficient, and we've seen it. So I think just getting him more involved makes a lot of sense, but also not putting him in terrible situations where he can get hurt or take a big hit over the middle or something like that. But I think D-Hop is the best thing that could have happened to him this year. I know it's been slow with those two really kind of finding each other, but I think D-Hop, that veteran presence for Xavier Worthy is going to help him, and I do think we see that the second half of the season. I think we see a lot of production for Xavier Worthy down the stretch.
Shout out to the chat again. Chase is in here. Shaggy Shane's in here. Ruben and Cruz, Dustin Orton. Looks like our guy G Pitt. What up? Lonnie Pyramid's in here. Shout out to all you guys on the YouTube side of things. If you're watching on any other platform, we thank you so much for doing that. But if you guys would be so kind, man, go ahead and jump over to YouTube. That is where we're trying to grow this bad boy. If you've not gotten our YouTube channel, I tell you at the top of the show, I tell you at the bottom of the show, go ahead and subscribe, hit notify, hit share, all those things, all those stuff helps us big time, big time. We appreciate it. But get in the comments. We want the live stream comments, man. To get in here, you guys can talk amongst yourselves. We always see that. That always encourages us as well, because, you guys are kind of connecting as well as a community. But we want to get your takes, your questions, your concerns, whatever you guys have for us. Drop it on there. Trevor will put it on the screen, and then we'll get to your questions and
John
speak
Harrison in the chat as well. Shout out to John.
Shout out to Johnny, man. Yeah, he's one of our MVPs, man. We always appreciate John being here. He keeps me in check, man. So I gotta be on my P's and Q's with John's here.
But I will say, just to the comparison to McCole Hardman.
Yeah, because that's all Chase put that out there.
Sure, yeah. I don't. He's going to be better than McCole Hardman, guys. He's going to be better than McCole Hardman.
But I think it's fair to compare him right now.
Of course, right now.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yes.
Sure. But as far as my personal trajectory, what I think that Xavier Worthy is going to be in this offense.
Yeah. I think he's more talented without question.
I'm telling you, man, the kid is going to be very good in this offense. He's very explosive. He's what we've missed. We needed guys like him. He's going to I think we're very spoiled amongst the league with first-round receivers, man.
Well, let me ask you a question.
I know the expectation is there, and it should be. That's fair.
Yeah.
But we can't expect Malik Neighbors. We can't expect Justin Jefferson. We can't expect all these guys that have been, Jamar Chases, these first-year guys that come in the first round, and they're just absolute all-time studs. That's just something, these early pick receivers, sometimes there's a lot of guys that start a little slower, and they don't. It's a good situation for Xavier Worthy, but it's also been a pretty bad situation for Xavier Worthy because he's immediately having to get thrusted into this role that wasn't really expected. And I don't think Andy Reid expected it to because of all the bodies that have gone down so far this year.
I get that, but here's the thing, Trevor. I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I'm going to try to speak for the people on this side of this camp that gets a little angsty at the wide receiver position, mostly because of the fact, Trevor, when it comes to some of these of late, the receivers that Brett Veach has taken in the draft, outside of Rashee Rice, again, that's the size receiver, the guy that doesn't really fit the Andy Reid
Right,
mold.
we were having the same conversation with Rashee by week 8.
I know, but Rashee,
the same
the problems that Rashee was having, though, was drops.
Sure.
He was running his routes fine.
That would be worse.
Here's
He's got 5 touchdowns.
okay, my point, though, Trevor, is that we saw the writing on the wall. The Chiefs clearly were trusting Rashee. Rashee was running the right routes. He was an effective piece. He had a problem with drops and fixed it and then became a deadly piece of this offense. What is the problem with Xavier Worthy right now?
Xavier Worthy's been on the field far more and played far more.
Okay, but why are they not going to him?
Well, that's just, I mean, he's like I said, dude, like this situation is far different than what she dealt with last year.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that when it comes to the smaller style of receiver like Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, when it comes to Xavier Worthy, there's an angst now that's been built in the Chiefs community because they've seen these guys come and they failed. The fear is he going to become just another one of those guys? Because based on what we're seeing so far,
absolutely hell no.
Okay, and maybe you'll be right. But Trevor, you and I also had high hopes about Sky Moore, and that was rightfully so at the time because he looked like a skilled player.
They're very different.
Not necessarily. They're two undersized receivers that were considered burners down the field.
No. Sky wasn't the biggest burner down the field. Sky was a more over the middle, cover 2 kind of guy that was. He was not a 9-route guy that was out there just actually burning people.
But my point is, he was
not that.
Sky wasn't brought here to be a possessions receiver. Sky was brought here to be a guy that's going to make downfield plays, impact plays. Mm-hmm. And Xavier Worthy was even more so than that. Because all I kept hearing was, he's more than just a blazing speed guy. This dude can run all the routes. This guy can do all the plays. We're not seeing that. That's the problem we're seeing. So you might be right. Don't expect Malik Neighbors was a top 7 pick. But I should be expecting a first-round pick. This guy's the 28th overall pick, man.
I mean,
what is he going to... That's my question.
He scored in almost every way imaginable in the NFL so far. He's had a rushing touchdown, a quick slant touchdown, and he's had a 50-plus yard touchdown.
Has Xavier Worthy been impressive to you so far?
I'm fine with him right now.
That's the difference where we're at.
This is a very slave of the moment conversation right now, if I'm being honest with you, because he's coming off of his worst game of the career so far, and I get it. It's easy to have this conversation, especially with D-Hop coming in immediately and doing what he just did. But that's D-Hop. That's a guy who can come in and you can insert him. He can make those plays, and he already has that connection with Patrick Mahomes, and that is a very great thing for Chiefs fans and the Chiefs organization moving forward the rest of this season. But Xavier Worthy, I was never expecting him to be. Our projection at the beginning of the year was 600-something yards, maybe 700 yards. He's already got 5 touchdowns. If he can get double-digit touchdowns before the end of the year, which is possible.
That changes, though, Trevor, when Hollywood Brown's out for the season. That changes when Juju misses multiple games.
Right, but you understand
that changes when Rashee Rice misses the rest of the season.
It's not entirely fair to him with that situation.
It wasn't fair to Rashee Rice either. And Rashee Rice ended up becoming a guy.
The same situation. Guys that weren't dropping like flies that year.
No, they were dropping everything.
No. That's different. We still have the bodies, though. What I'm saying is his role...
And they all sucked.
Okay. That's different, though. They were available. They were still on the field. They were still creating other opportunities. Rashee Rice wasn't expected to be that.
By week 9, who was the number 1 receiver on the team?
Rashee Rice.
So everybody was game planning.
By week 9, it started to kind of take off.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people at
the beginning.
All right, we're game planning. I think it was that Raiders game. Remember when he had that big touch on the left side?
Sure.
I think it was like week 8. After that, he put the NFL on notice. Because after that, he literally took off.
Yeah.
And there was 3 or 4 straight games where he was having 90 yards. Yeah. So the league, and you know how the league is, bro. Like, all right, that kid just became something. I want to see that moment for Xavier Worthy.
Very different role, and I'm with you. That actually helps my argument as why I'm confused over the usage of Xavier Worthy. Like, we're not getting him quick touches. We're not getting him in space to let him work after the catch or after the whatever. That's what we did in week 1 when we just kind of got him in space and let him just work. We haven't done that really since then. And that's what's frustrating to me. We're not really getting him the touches. He's been on the field often, but we're not getting him looks. We're not getting him touches. He's not getting enough. Last week he got 3-4 targets maybe, and the week before that he had 8. That was cool, but getting the kid.
He had 2 targets. He had 2 targets against Bucs.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We just completely went away from him. I don't like that personally.
But then again, the 2 weeks previous, he had 16 total targets, 8 and 8, and had a total of 57 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand, man, but some of those targets weren't great. Some of those were overthrown to him. Patrick missed him 2 weeks ago on he was wide open. Patrick missed him on a touchdown. So if he gets that touchdown, has 6, and has that much more yards. That would have been like a 60-plus yard touchdown.
When you say it's a wash, though, when he literally steps out of bounds on a touchdown, the pad hit him in the money.
Sure, that's why we got to be fair, right?
It's a wash.
That's why we got to be fair. He missed him on several throws this year.
That's why I said I want to be fair and say that I want to see him continue to grow, and I think he can. But we have to be able to show.
How many times we talk about all those targets he had last couple weeks? How many times have we talked about Pat just straight up missing him on throws?
I can't say there's more than a couple.
It's happened several times.
The one you just named, though, was a 55-yard throw. Like, you're going to miss those sometimes. Like, quarterbacks only hit, like, what was the accuracy percentage on those? Like 25, 30%?
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's like the most difficult throw to make.
We're talking about what has happened so far and what we think is going to happen in hindsight. You're on the side of him not probably taking that next leap.
No, again, I'm not.
That's the Bob. That's not.
I'm saying we're at the place now where I need to start seeing it. That's what I'm saying. Because so far, Trevor, I mean, look, in the last month...
Don't you think it's fair to say that we've already seen it and it's kind of slowed down, now we need to see it some more?
Since week 1, he's not impressed me once.
Okay.
I mean, I will give... Against the Chargers, he did have 73 yards and a touchdown. That's a good game. 3 catches, 73 yards and a touchdown. For me, though, that has to be something of almost the norm for a first-round receiver at some point, where you're getting 65, 70 yards. Like, let me ask you that. In your opinion, is that too much to ask from Xavier Worthy right now without Hollywood Brown, without Rashee Rice, without Juju Smith-Schuster, to come in, get 3 to 5 catches, 65 to 75 yards, and an occasional touchdown? Is that too much to ask? Because he's done it once. He's done it one time. In 8 games, he's given me 70-plus yards once.
Yeah, but he's not, bro. I just don't think he's getting the usage he's on the field, but I don't think they're using him correctly. I don't think they're getting him.
So you're saying it's a coaching problem?
Not necessarily, but I mean, I just think that maybe Pat's not seeing him. Maybe that connection's just not there yet. And I don't think he's getting it. There's been plenty of times, bro. I've watched every single fucking game, every single fucking play. There's been plenty of times where Xavier Worthy is wide open. Pat's missed guys this year. That's happened pretty frequently. There's been numerous times where Kelsey is wide open. And Pat's missed him, So I'm just saying, like, this is a team issue. It's not just Xavier Worthy. Him stepping out of bounds last week was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know that. Travis Kelce fumbling the ball is unacceptable, right? So we're not killing him. Like, these are things that Xavier Worthy is going to have growing pains, man. Like, these things happen. Guys make blunders.
I just need to know, because we always have that. We always have that cliche in the back of our minds and our mouths where guy gets hurt. What do we always say? Next man up. Like Rashee Rice gets hurt. Next man up. Yeah. Hollywood Brown doesn't come back for the rest of the season. Next man up. Juju's hurt now for a month. Next man up. Who's the next man for those 3 guys? It's Xavier Worthy, and he's not stepped up.
Obviously, D-Hop, but I mean,
D-Hop is like the paramount. Like, he's the guy that they build around.
Sure.
What I'm saying is,
expecting.
They drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round long before they ever got D-Hop, though, Trevor. So obviously they looked at him as who that guy's going to be.
Right. Let me ask you something. You understand that Rashee Rice last year was the outlier for Andy Reid with rookie receivers.
Absolutely.
That's why we had our doubts the whole year about Rashee. Okay, so we can't just expect Xavier Worthy to immediately replicate that.
I'm not. Dude, I never. When have you ever said?
I'm not saying.
You haven't heard me say. I'm expecting him to do what Rashee did.
I'm not saying. I'm saying, but just production, at least close to that production wise. We can't expect him to do that when we know this whole time Andy Reid's coaching career, he develops receivers along the way slowly. Rashee Rice broke that mold, obviously, last year because he kind of had to. I understand Xavier Worthy might kind of have to as well, and I do expect him to have a really good second half of the year, and that could happen too. Here we are at the midway point, and all we're doing is arguing what we've seen so far. And I get it. The production has not been there. But this is a new weapon to this offense, does new things, and he's been missing a couple plays, and he's messed up a couple plays himself. But there's give and take on who is at fault on certain plays that he's had blunders on. Last week was 100% on him. For sure.
Yeah.
He started the game off on a rough point. But Pat's missed him several times in certain games that I've watched as well. So there is give and take on who the blame goes to. Listen, man, it is what it is, bro. Like, I'm just chugging along slowly with him. And I think, obviously, D-Hop coming in here helps him a lot. And I think as the seasons go on, I think we'll see some big plays with D-Hop being the blocker downfield for Xavier Worthy making big plays. And I fully expect that to take place moving forward. Right.
And I do agree that there's been times where Xavier Worthy's been missed or the throw don't go to him because he is wide open. I've seen that. I saw it against the Saints. I saw it against the Buccaneers. I've seen it multiple times. I agree with you on that. My question is, why is it, though, that's happening? Why isn't Patrick looking his way? Is it because there's a trust problem? Then it becomes something deeper. If it's a development thing, then we can talk about that.
Of course it's trust. So, the trust isn't fully there yet.
Yeah.
Man. Of course. He's a rookie, man. Like, this is And he worked out with Pat during the offseason and obviously camp. They had all that together. But I think we've learned along the way that it takes a while for Pat to learn to trust somebody.
Right.
I know that's not a negative on Pat, but that's something that just takes time.
What I want to see from Xavier Worthy, a first-round pick that the Chiefs went up and got, not waited for. Said, if he's still there, we'll get him. No, they went up and got him. I want to see him become more of an effective piece of the offense. How they do that, like you said, the suggestion you made total sense. Hey, how about we throw some slip screens to him? Immediately, as soon as Pat hikes the ball, chuck it to him, and then the guards and the tackles go out there and block for him, and he gets to go around those guys and let his speed do the talking.
Sweeps, too. We haven't done some of that stuff.
Why in the world isn't that been happening? So when it comes to coaching side, those are the thoughts.
He would have destroyed the Bucs if he gave him those kind of touches.
Right.
Their lateral speed of that defense, he would have eaten them alive, man. That's why I was very confused. We absolutely went away from him in the second half. He had 0 touches. It was just like, I didn't like that. That rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, obviously, our offense was humming, bro.
Yeah.
D-Hop and Kareem Hunt alone took that game over. Obviously, Pat was great. That pass to Samaje was insane.
That was so fucking awesome.
Patrick Mahomes stuff. I'm glad he damn near hurt himself in the process.
Yeah. Oh, he did hurt himself.
I just think that, dude, once we unlock Xavier Worthy, this offense can be so much more explosive. Because we're lacking a lot of explosibility in this offense. We need Xavier. It's both sides. We need Xavier to step the fuck up and do his job and meet those expectations as a first-round pick. And we also need Pat to work on that trust with him and kind of, get just Andy Reid, design some plays, draw some plays up for the kid. He's a very explosive kid, man. He's light. Yeah, he can take a big hit, and that can be bad. But this is football, baby.
Yeah.
This is what we got to do, especially going into the second half of the season. Starting this week against the Broncos, this is a great time to kind of, expose some weaknesses of a rival divisional foe and put him in the ground. And I think he's a great way to blow a game wide open very quickly, and I want to see more of that.
Chiefs have 4 more divisional games coming up for the rest of the season. They have 2 with the Broncos, 1 more with the Chargers, and 1 more with the Raiders. And then obviously the Bills game is a big one. Those to me are the last. I mean, because I think the Texans are going to continue to lose games. I don't think the Texans. I think the Texans have a ton of weaknesses. And losing Steph Diggs for the rest of the year really hurts them. And Nico Collins is banged up. I know he's practicing again, and that's huge for them. Their offensive line is terrible. Their defense is inconsistent. C.J. Stroud has regressed to a certain degree. I've not been, outside of Joe Mixon, I've not really been impressed that much with the Texans. But to that point, the Steelers, I don't trust their offense. I don't think they're a team that's going to be long for the road. So really, outside of those couple divisional games in the Bills game, you're right. I think this is when you get that chance to really show it, which is what leads me to my last thought, and we'll move off this topic, because Xavier Worthy is an important piece to me. Since the Chiefs drafted him, I said, okay, this is going to be a guy that the Chiefs have got to utilize, and got to utilize him immediately. Because even Patrick said it in training camp.
And they're only really dynamic player.
Exactly. And Patrick said it himself, he goes, oh, no. Well, no, we're expecting day one him to be a guy. Yeah. That's why I put the standard on, because they're putting the same standard on. So here's my last theory, and real quick. I'm throwing this out here because this is something I've also kicked around. I haven't heard anybody else really talk about it. But it's one of those cliches we hear a lot of times in Kansas City, Trevor. But maybe it's applicable in this situation. What if the Chiefs just don't want to unlock him yet?
That's what I'm saying. This next half of the season could be.
What if they're saving some of these things, or keeping him in line? They're utilizing him still. He's still getting his opportunities. But maybe they're like, yeah, these jet sweeps, these specialty plays, we're not using them in week 6 against the Saints.
Wheel route.
We're not using that in week 9 against the Bucks. We're not using that stuff. We'll get through these games. They'll be tough. They'll be excruciating. They'll be stressful. But when we play the Bills, we're going to unlock Xavier Worthy for a go.
We do have special plays with the Bills. Almost.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That lateral play that Travis Kelce did to Kadarius that should have won the game.
Because here's the thing, and not to jump 2 weeks ahead, but if the Chiefs, let's say the Chiefs beat the Broncos this week, right? And let's say that the Bills beat the Colts, which, by the way, I have the Colts winning that game. But let's say the Bills, though, and the Chiefs both win this week. If the Chiefs beat the Bills, they have a 4-game lead on the Bills. If they lose to the Bills, they have a 1-game lead on the Bills. That's how significant that game can be.
Yeah, man.
So I am wondering, because we know that the Chiefs have scouting departments and coaches that work weeks ahead. I'm wondering if someone got in Andy Reid's ear and is like, hey, we're 8-0. We're about to play a divisional foe that we feel very confident we will beat at home. Maybe we should save some of this stuff for that Bills game. A defense that gets beat a lot. A defense you can run on and pass on. and has an offense that's very inconsistent with 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺𝙴 down injured. I'm throwing that out there. Maybe if we get the chat to maybe chime in on that one, maybe that's me trying to be optimistic here. Maybe that is what they're doing with Xavier Worthy. Hey, Juju will be back by then. Hollywood Brown will be back next month. Xavier Worthy's just kind of growing into his mold. No one's really paying attention because we got D-Hop and Travis Kelce going right on. The veterans are doing their thing. The chase to 1,000 receptions. I don't know if you knew that, by the way. D-Hop and Travis are like almost neck and neck.
Yeah.
The chase to 1,000 receptions.
Team now,
yeah, dude, it's so fucking awesome.
League leaders, active players.
They're both like 40-something receptions away from 1,000 receptions career.
They're probably both going to get there by the end of the season.
Nuts. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe we can fuck with that a little bit. Where we can go with that theory, Trevor. You know what? Cool. Because I think in the big games, that's when Xavier Worthy gets his chance. Do you play that at all?
I just don't. I just want Xavier Worthy to be used. I mean, listen. Here I am to play an armchair expert on a podcast when I'm questioning the usage of a certain player.
That's all we can do.
But I mean, just me. What I want to see, I just want to see him get quick strikes.
Yeah.
I don't think our offense does enough in general. I don't think we do enough quick plays in general as it is. I don't know why. It was always my grief with Clyde as well. Clyde was incredible in college with those quick dump-offs and screen plays, and I just don't know why we don't do it enough.
Right.
We have guys that are fast. We have Mecole Hardman. We have Xavier Worthy. We have guys like Travis Kelce's always been great on those quick dump-offs and screens, and he can eat chunks. I don't understand it. We need to do that more, and I want to see the ball get into Xavier Worthy's hands quickly. Because, dude, if you get the kid in space, it's always going to be an oh shit moment for every defense.
Right.
You get him in space, and he has open field ahead of him. I just want to see more plays like that. I don't even need to see Pat connect with him on deep balls all the time. Because, honestly, it hasn't been really working too well. We've had a couple big ones this year, but other than that, it's been pretty inconsistent. So just get him and just get his usage up.
I don't think the chat's buying it, just from what I'm seeing so far. Brent said to you, he goes, Trev, I think they went away from him. I'm thinking of Xavier Worthy because he kept making stupid mistakes. Yeah. Rubens Cruiser said conspiracies. I clearly have a tinfoil hat on right now.
Listen to Ruben's comment there. They're not conspiracies anymore. The Chiefs 100%, it's been a proven fact for years now, hold things up their sleeve. Andy Reid holds things up his sleeve for specific teams.
Yeah.
Why do you think in the Super Bowl we never saw the corn dog play till then?
Right.
100% he was saving that for a big moment like that.
We did
it twice.
Right.
In the same game, and won the fucking Super Bowl with those plays that we had never seen.
They did that game. They did it again against the Niners.
Plays all year. The snow globe shit against dude. We pull against the Bills, against the Bengals, against the Ravens, against these certain teams. We have plays that are.
I think even the Noah Gray touchdown against the Ravens in the AFC Championship, that play has never been used before either. Yeah. So that's why I'm just kind of. What I'm trying to do, Trevor, is I'm just trying to keep my mind open. I don't want to be the dude that makes my mind up on Xavier Worthy 8 games into his career. But I have to be honest about what I'm seeing, because you know what I get asked? What are your thoughts on Xavier Worthy? I have to have an opinion on this. You know what I mean? Like, I have to know what the long game is here for Xavier Worthy, because he's a value. This isn't some third-round pick.
He's a need. We need him.
He is a guy, based on draft value, a dude you build your offense around. A first-round pick?
Yeah.
Is a dude you build around. Look at Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie. Those are dudes they're building their defense slowly around with Chris Jones. Patrick Mahomes, first-round pick. You build your quarterback. That's your quarterback. First-round picks are supposed to be difference makers. And I want to see Xavier Worthy become that. So now I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing theories out there to just kind of see where everyone's at on that, because I think there's a chance that maybe they're kind of holding back some stuff with him. Honestly, Trevor, I hope that's the case, because if it's not, then I think it kind of falls back to more where my concerns are. Well, then what the fuck is it? Because he's clearly not getting used, and he's clearly not producing like we'd like to see him. I'm not expecting to become Terrell Owens. I'm not expecting him to become Malik Neighbors right now, where he's getting 14 targets a game.
Brian Thomas Jr.
But if you're getting 6 to 8 targets and you have that kind of talent, give me 70 yards. Give me 65, 70 yards a week. If he's giving me that, Trevor, you're not hearing a peep from me. I will be like, you know what, Xavier? You're doing your job. You're a wide receiver 2 right now.
Could be worse. We could have Marvin Harrison Jr. on this team who's done actually nothing this year.
He's been battling concussions and stuff too.
I'm just saying, bro. He's had 2 good quarters this year.
Yeah.
Imagine having that. Imagine investing that and him being awful.
Yeah, what was a 3rd overall pick?
He's been awful.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he hasn't gotten enough work in my opinion either. But I mean, we can complain about Xavier, but Xavier's got 2 times as many touchdowns as he does. So that's crazy.
Well, the Chiefs having their first home division game this week. They haven't played. Well, I guess you would call Arrowhead West the home game too. I guess you could do that, but First game at Arrowhead, the Chiefs are facing a divisional foe, and is the Denver Broncos coming to town. Chiefs opened up, opening line, I think they're 9-point favorites. Chiefs have been getting some lofty lines lately. Yeah, really lofty lines.
I don't understand it, to be honest.
You know what I heard this week, Trevor, that I found so interesting. And it's it's slowly starting to happen the more and more the Chiefs continue this winning streak. 14 games overall, 8-0 this season. People are starting to look at, okay, what's the matchup that finally gets them a loss? Now, Trevor, from the beginning of the season, I told you the Chiefs will start the season 9-0. And they're going to go to Buffalo, and that's when I had them losing their first game because, like I said, that game is going to be everything to the Bills, and the Bills are going to get that one.
Yeah.
I still probably stand with that right now. I'm probably going to stick with it as it stands.
They're trying to get banged up.
Things can change. Yeah, exactly. Things can change. Because if they lose to the Colts this week, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺𝙴's still banged up, that defense doesn't look any better, my pick could change. But the point is, I feel that people are starting to panic almost, panic pick, where they're like anticipating the Chiefs' loss. We're like, well, it just makes sense for it to happen this week. It's before the Bills game.
They're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, they're trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
I'm here to alleviate that for you guys. The Chiefs are not losing this week. I'm just going to get out ahead of it.
This is not a game we lose.
They are not losing to the Denver Broncos. And I'm going to explain to you why.
We did last year.
Everyone's like, well, yes. Here's the thing. And I think you would agree with me on this, Trevor. This is a significantly better Chiefs team than last season. Significantly.
We're winning in similar fashion. A lot of one-score wins, but yeah, we were down the stretch. We were awful.
Yes. I mean, it was.
I think Russ had like 2 rushing touchdowns on us in that game. It's like that was such an anomalous situation. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know the Broncos have a winning record, but we need to debunk them.
They're a good team.
Well, I do have questions about that, and I'm going to explain why. I know they have a winning record, and I know that Sean Payton's a good coach. Trust me, I get that. I have nothing but profound respect for Sean Payton, even though I think he's a tad overrated because all of his success came with Drew Brees. He has not had any success outside of Drew Brees. I digress. The Broncos have faced only one top-tier quarterback this season that's even remotely close to Patrick Mahomes. It was Lamar Jackson last week, and the Broncos got their cheeks clapped 41-10. The Broncos have faced 2 top 10 defenses all season. It was the Steelers and Chargers. They not only lost both those games, they averaged 11 points per game in those games. The Broncos have scored 20 points or fewer in 5 of their 9 games this season. This is not a good team, in my opinion. This is a team that is the definition of fraudulent. Their record does not indicate the team they are because they right now are in the playoff picture. And this to me is not a playoff team. Because against other playoff teams, that's what I know what you are. What you do against other good teams. You would say, Trevor, if the Chiefs have the easiest schedule in the league right now, people would say, yeah, but. Well, there ain't no, but they haven't faced anybody yet. And that'd be a valid thing, right? We have to say, well, that's true. They haven't faced anybody this season. Even though they have the cachet of being a 2-time champion. The point, though, is the Broncos are coming into this game, this matchup, Trevor, showing us the recipe of what they are. They'll beat a bad team. They'll beat a bad team. Look at their schedule right now, Trevor. Let's just check out who they've beaten so far this season. It's a murderer's row, let me tell you guys, because let's look. They beat the Jets, beat the Raiders, beat the Saints, and they beat the Panthers. They did upset the Buccaneers. I'll give them that one. That was a week. Yeah, I will give them that. I will not debate that one. I will give them credit for that one. But their other 4 victories: Jets, Raiders, Saints, Panthers. And that Saints game was without Derek Carr. In other words, they've beaten the worst teams in the NFL.
But even against the good teams, they were competitive. So
sure.
That's not the Ravens game.
The Seattle game, week 1, they played well.
Because I think they're like 3rd in points allowed this year.
Sure.
So they're up there.
They lost by a touchdown to the Chargers. They lost by 7 to the Steelers. But that, again, week 2, they put up 6 points.
Yeah.
Against the Baltimore Ravens, they got absolutely smoked. That's the tier of teams the Chiefs are at, except higher, is the Ravens. And they just murdered them. Now you can say, well, Sean Payton's an established head coach, just got destroyed on the road last week. He's going to answer back. Is that necessarily the truth? Do we just believe that they're just going to answer back? Because, Trevor, I'll be real with you. This Denver defense does not scare me. Outside of Pat Surtain, who else on that defense is deadly? And real quick, not to interrupt you before you answer that question, what has Patrick Mahomes done against Vance Joseph in his career?
Sure.
He has demolished him. Why? Because Vance Joseph's defense is built around what? Blitzing.
Yeah.
And he can get away with it because he has Pat Surtain on the outside of the man coverage. But when you have a quarterback who's literally the best in the league against the blitz, that is why the Chiefs have won 14 of their last 15 games against the Denver Broncos.
Sure.
So I'm looking at the matchup. I'm looking at the team the Chiefs are about to take on. And I'm sitting here going, what is there to fear? Do they have a deadly quarterback? No. Because the best thing that Blow Nix is at is running the ball.
He's been good, man.
He's not been good at throwing the football. He's been terrible throwing the football.
He's been getting better as the season's gone on throwing the football. He's a great athlete. I've been pretty impressed with his film for the most part the last couple weeks. Yeah, he's definitely an athlete. He'll run for sure. He's, I think, third in rushing amongst all quarterbacks, only behind Lamar and he's fourth behind Lamar, Kyler, and Jay Daniels. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I actually believe in this Broncos defense. I think it is really good. I think they've been good all year. Outside of that one blow-up game they had against the Ravens, which the Ravens have just blown out people in a lot of weeks, so that happens. They run it up. And just there's a bad matchup for them with Lamar. But I think this will be a competitive game. I think this defense is good, man. I think Vance has been coaching his ass off on that defense, and I think Surtain is an elite cornerback, and I think the other kid, Moss, opposite him, has been pretty good this year too. They've been really good. But I think where our matchup is with our offense, it matches up good against. We don't depend on the outside receiver really much. D-Hop can have a quiet game, that's fine. Kelsey can eat. Noah Gray can eat. Xavier Worthy can get some stuff over the middle or after the catch. Or we can just run it right down their throat like, the Ravens did. They ran all over them. So Craig Hunt's been doing his thing. I can imagine that continuing. But I think this is going to be the best defense the Chiefs have faced all year. But at the same time, like our guy John Harrison said in here, I think, this is probably the best defense the Chiefs are going to play so far, but this is by far the best defense the Donkeys are going to face. So that, you match the defensive showdown against Bo Nix and Patrick Mahomes figuring it out. My money is on the Chiefs.
Well, and not only that, Trevor, here's the other thing. To that point, the Chiefs just had probably their worst game defensively this season. You don't think they're going to shore that up the next week?
Well, and we're in poor timing for the Broncos too, because we're going to get Mike Ganna back. A man who's right around the corner with him getting back here. We're getting I think Uche is going to have a game here too. I think he's going to be another week into the system. I really like the upside of that kid moving forward this season.
Well, here's another. Let me ask you a question, Trevor. Are we sure that the Broncos are coming into this matchup with the best quarterback in the game?
Oh no. Yeah, you already know. I think Trent's the best corner in the game. You already know that. No.
Surtain's an amazing player.
Yeah, for sure.
But Trent McDuffie this season has been
actively just go away from Trent, bro.
They don't throw his way ever.
Yeah.
He hasn't allowed a touchdown this season. I think he's given up like 5 first downs total.
To be a guy who can lock down the slot too in today's game, that's so
man. Because most teams put their best
receivers on the island outside. That's one thing. You can stay with the guy hip for hip, whatever. That's fine. But locking the middle of the field down is and what
you're taking on tight ends, running backs, wide receivers. You're taking on everything.
Yes, dude.
And he's an undersized quarterback, I might add. He's about 5'9", 5'10".
I don't give a shit about the interception stuff.
No.
Granted, this week could very well happen.
Didn't Darrell Revis have like 19 total interceptions in his career?
Yeah. Teams actively go away from you. If you're silent, your name's not being called during the game, that means you're doing something right, bro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no argument from me there.
The Chiefs, most points the Chiefs defense has given up this season is 25. It was against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 2. From that point on, Trevor, for their next 4 games, they not only gave up less than 20 points per game, they were giving up less than 15 points per game. So I'm looking at this matchup and I'm just trying, what is there to fear? The only thing, Trevor, that I can even take away from this being a close game is that the Chiefs allow it to be. Now, maybe it will be. Maybe the Chiefs will do one of those typical bullshit games where they just play to their fucking competition and it's a close one-possession game. Maybe that is the case. But you have to tell me, Trevor, at this point, how does a team beat the Chiefs? Seeing they haven't lost a game in almost a calendar year, why are the Broncos the team to finally end that streak? What are they going to do? Excuse me. What are they going to do offensively that's going to be able to outperform Patrick Mahomes and then the defense on the other side? Because you have to play a damn near perfect game for that to happen. How do I know that? Because there's been a couple games this year where teams played damn near perfect and they weren't good enough and they still couldn't get it done. Better teams with better quarterbacks with just as good, if not better, coaches. How did they get it done, Trevor? Paint that scenario for me.
Well, you know what the formula is, man, to beat the Chiefs. It's if the Chiefs beat themselves.
Exactly.
Right? So this is. I mean, the only way we lose this game is if, obviously, Pat just had his first game this year so far without turning the ball over. That was Pat's first game last week, but not turning the ball over this year. So that's something you can build on, for Christ's sake. Let's not turn the ball over anymore. So if we keep the game clean, run the ball, play a nice balanced offensive attack, and let our defenses do what they do, this is honestly a layup win for the Chiefs, in my opinion. But at the same time, we know what the Chiefs can do sometimes. We saw it just last year. Granted, last year was our team was just in shambles last year. Tip drilled interceptions left and right. So that hasn't been the case this year. It's just been inconsistencies and losing a lot of bodies. So I think, obviously, the formula for the Chiefs to win this game is just to run the ball, like I said, balance attack and let our defense do their thing. And Bo Nix, let him just go beat himself, because he will do that, especially in the passing game. But listen, man, this is a typical trap game situation. We get the Bills lingering the next week, right? Looking ahead, we can easily look. People can use that look ahead narrative where we're looking ahead to the Bills. We're not focusing on the Broncos, and we fall flat. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's how this team works. But this to me is going to be another one of those boring type games where we just kind of just ho hum, win by 3, win by 4.5, 5 points. And just call it a day and another divisional win. Right. That's to me. I'm not. This is not a very exciting game to me by any means. Obviously, because as a fan, you are looking ahead to the Bills next week as well. But yeah, man, for this one, it's just don't beat ourselves. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now. I just don't. Pat, continue not turning the ball over. No picks. Granted, Pat Surtain gets the best of Pat a lot of times too in these matchups. He's played well against Pat in his career, but yeah, I mean, I think quick strikes, running the ball, getting Kelsey over the middle a lot, because I think that's where our offense is going to eat, because their linebackers are not good, in my opinion. They have good edge rushers. They have good corners. That's where their defense is good at. So their linebackers are a little weak from what I've seen of the Broncos. They can be beat over the middle. They can be beat by speedsters underneath and things like that. So I think Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelsey underneath stuff can really, really work if we get Xavier Worthy that work, and that's what I expect. So.
Yeah.
Just don't lose the game, man. Just don't beat ourselves. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I think we should. And by the way, I see our comments here from Micah. The video and audio. We've had problems all day, man. We apologize for that. We worked on. We were even almost an hour late to the show today, trying to work on this stuff. We don't know what exactly is going on with StreamYard today, but hopefully we'll have that all situated for you guys by next week. So just bear with us this week. We apologize for that, guys. Hopefully you guys understand we are doing everything we possibly can to overcome it. Real quick, Trevor, let's get to our key players, and then we'll get to a score prediction. Who are your two guys?
So I'm going to go right back to the well. I no shame here. I still am a big believer in Xavier Worthy and what he can do, and I think this is a game. It felt like last week just felt like a feast situation for Xavier Worthy because of the terrible secondary and the slow secondary of the Bucs, but the other guys ate, and that's fine. We went away from him. He had a chance to blow the game wide open from the jump, and he failed. And that was really hard to watch. I felt like I was going to be right on point with that. I thought Xavier was going to have a big game, and he didn't. And they went away from the second half, and it didn't happen. This week is a great opportunity for him to bounce back in a very weak deep middle of the defense. Their linebackers, and those guys are mismatches. If you can get him on one-on-ones or just over the middle, quick strikes, or just jet sweeps, use his speed against this defense and evade the blitz. Similar to how we did it with McCole Hardman against the Niners. We would go right at Nick Bosa, right with those jet sweeps. We send all of our blockers, just roll outs with our O-line, just power O, and just absolutely just run Nick Bosa right over and go right at him. I think we could do those kind of similar plays with how we've done with McCole, with Xavier Worthy, and use his speed and get him in space and find those gaps and let him go find some open field. I think this is an Xavier Worthy game. I'm going right back to the well. I still feel like this kid's got so much to show in this offense. I think it starts this week against the Broncos. So I'm going Xavier Worthy. I think he scores here. So yeah, that's where I'm going with my guy on there. And I'm in this one. We talked about the corners defensively, so I'm going with Trent McDuffie here. I think he has a great opportunity. I know we've tried to predict this for years now. When his first pick is going to come, this is a great chance for him to do it this week. And I'm just going to roll the dice with this one and go with Trent McDuffie because we've seen, as much as I've actually liked a lot of the tape on Bo Nix, I think he's a very great athlete and he has a winning mentality. We saw him even catch a touchdown last week. That was cool. But the guy is awful at throwing the ball over the middle. He's awful. Just making decisions, and his accuracy has just been really bad on the short. He's got a pretty good deep ball, but over the short intermediate throws, awful. And that's where Trent McDuffie lives. Yeah. So any kind of tip drill, any kind of situation where he has an accurate throws behind a guy and it gets tipped up or something, I think there's going to be a situation where Trent McDuffie makes a play here this week, and I'm going with Trent there.
Yeah, so this is going to be a game where the game is decided by the others. I think this is a game where, Travis Kelce, D-Hop, they might play well. You might be right. Xavier Worthy or Kareem Hunt, one of these guys have a game, but I think it's going to be one of the others. I'm gonna say, and this is a guy that's been quietly making plays for the Chiefs without a lot of people really paying attention, but he's one of my guys, and I'll forever stand by his side because he's played big for the Chiefs in big moments. Mecole Hardman's making a play in this game. I think Mecole Hardman gets a touchdown in this game, actually. I think he's going to either get a big throw because of the fact that maybe Xavier Worthy is being held back a little bit still. And if it isn't going to be Xavier Worthy, you ask who else can be explosive in this offense? Well, that'd be Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, their skill sets fit this matchup really well.
Yeah, because Patrick Tan's going to be all over D-Hop or Travis Kelce or both. They're going to make sure they try to zero in on those guys. That's going to leave a lot of opportunity for these young speedsters.
There's a lot of blitzes on Pat, too. Get the ball out quick. Yep.
So maybe a jet sweep play where Mecole houses it, red zone style play. I think the Chiefs are going to have a really good game plan offensively for this matchup because, like I said, they have dominated Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph has not boded well against the Chiefs in the Mahomes era. And on my defensive side, man, because of I do respect Bo Nix's mobility.
Yeah.
This is going to be a game where the veteran linebackers have to make plays in the open field, whether it's going to be dump-offs to the flat or Bo Nix trying to run out in the bootlegs and try to extend drives on 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 7s, things like that. That is why Drew Tranquill's going to arrive in this one. Drew Tranquill's had an iffy season. He's gotten better as the season's gone on. He played pretty bad down the stretch early in the year, but he's gotten better. I mean, he's made some big plays, especially some tackles for losses and things of that nature. I think you're going to see some Leo Chenal. He's going to be adding to the pass rush a little bit, too. You saw him start to rush off the edge. Yeah. I think Drew Tranquill, Nick Bolton, guys like that are going to be the ones that make the differences in this game. I say the others because Drew Tranquill is a guy that would be considered that. He's not one of the key players on the defense. He's a role player in this defense. And I think that Drew Tranquill is going to make a key tackle on 3rd down, maybe force a strip sack, something like that where he
needs one of those games.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love what Spags has been doing with these exotic blitzes. He sent Drew Tranquill several times last week. He sent Nick Bolton several times last week, right up the middle of the defense. That's how you stop a guy like Bo Nix.
Yeah, and I almost
set the pressure.
I almost picked Chamari Conner in this game because this feels like a great spot for him too.
You're right.
Talk about blitz packages.
Yeah.
Sending him on those DB blitzes. Yeah. Oh my God,
that's because the Chiefs are going to force 3 turnovers in this game.
Oh man, that's definitely
3 turnovers in this game.
That's definitely possible.
Chiefs are forcing 3 turnovers in this game.
And Bo Nix, if we go the ratio is 3-0.
Yeah.
And we force 3 and we don't have any ourselves. We can't turn the ball over. That's what I'm tired of seeing. And we turned it over once last week, Kelsey's fumble, but Pat had a clean game. I want to see more of that. Yeah,
Sean Payton, I think Sean Payton's going to have a good game plan, as good as he can, but they don't have the receivers, they don't have the dogs, they don't have the quarterback to be able to come into Arrowhead and make this happen.
And they don't have the tight end.
Exactly.
We've been allowing tight ends to eat every week.
This is by far the worst tight end they're going to face all season.
Sure.
So you're talking about, like I said, this is a complete mismatch. I'm not buying into the bullshit that people have been trying to sell all week. This could be that week. No. The Chiefs are taking business. They always take care of business, or at least for the most part, against divisional foes, especially against a rookie quarterback. His first time facing Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, last year was an anomalous type of season, man, with the Raiders blunder game and the Broncos blunder game. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your score prediction, Trevor?
Man, I'm gonna go. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna go 23-13. 23-13, we win by 10. I think we cover the spread. I think our defense is incredible this week. And this is a very rare spread cover for me because I'm always saying don't take that. Don't take the points with the opposition. It's never like 9+ points, just like they didn't do it last week against the Bucs. But that's a far better offense than I did not. I trusted the Bucs to cover that spread personally, and they did. So this offense, I think our defense can absolutely shut this Broncos offense down. We shut the run down. They live by the run, right? And if you force them to become one-dimensional and you force Bo Nix to be a passer all day, we are going to destroy them.
Yeah.
So I think I like the spread. I like the 9+ points with the Chiefs. Take them with the points. I think we cover the spread. I think we win by 10. Yeah,
Chiefs, like I said, they forced 3 turnovers. I think their turnover-less streak continues for 2 games. I think the Chiefs look sharp in this one because, like I said, you had kind of this weird, unnecessarily close game against an NFC opponent in the rain on Monday Night Football. short week, but you have a good game plan. You want to stay healthy to get ready for this Bills game coming up. I think the Chiefs take care of business. Like I said, they get things going early, knock Bo Nix around, knock his confidence around, and I think they take care of business. The Chiefs, like I said, 3 turnovers. The Chiefs win this game by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say the Chiefs win this game, and my guy Chase actually just dropped the score as I was saying it. That is my exact score. Chiefs 27, Broncos 13. I think the Chiefs defense really dominates this game because, like I said, they answer back, and the way the Broncos have played against top 10 defenses this year, only allowing 11 points per game, or only scoring 11 points per game against top 10 defenses.
Broncos are third in points allowed, though. That's the only way I think we score 27-plus points like that is if we get a defensive touchdown.
Well, when I say if you get 3 turnovers, that means you're more likely you're going to have a short field, and then you go and get early downs, early scores. And I have the Chiefs scoring 2 field goals.
I think this has been very good in the red zone, man. They've forced a lot of field goals. So I'm just saying, like, I don't expect a lot of touchdowns from the Chiefs.
The only time they have faced a quarterback even close to Patrick Mahomes, what happened?
Sure.
They got smoked.
Sure.
So I'm saying this Broncos dude, I'm standing out. I'm dying on this hill. This Broncos team is fraudulent. Pat Surtain is for real.
I don't think their defense is fraudulent.
I think their defense is overrated. They've played a lot of bad offenses. A lot.
Sure.
A lot of bad. They have feasted on them, sure. But Vance Joseph's style against this Chiefs offense is not good. He can blitz all day long, and he's going to get murdered. He's going to get murdered because that's his style.
Well, not just against Pat. Pat's incredible against the blitz as well, but this O-line has been our offensive line.
Yeah.
Best offensive line in football so far. I mean, they've been, especially against with run blocking.
Now, I will say, the Broncos' defense has been good against the run as well, but the Chiefs are not going to go away from it. They know that they have to continue to balance attack, so the Chiefs are going to still run the ball 20-plus times in this game. Pat will probably create with his feet again, even though he's got the ankle, but he will create, as he always does, and I'm very, very, very confident the Chiefs are going to get this game done, man. I know it seems like I'm making a Chiefs blowout every week, but I just feel that much confident about this matchup against this Broncos team that everyone's like, oh, yeah, this could be the team. Chiefs are going to silence some critics.
It's not very often I think the Chiefs win by 10 points, but I think that's what happens. I think we win comfortably this week.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes. All right, guys, that's our predictions. You guys let us know what you guys think happens this week. We'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know what your score prediction is. If the Chiefs win, Chiefs finally get upset, and whatever you guys want to go down with, you guys let me know right here because it is time for speaking. Sure, what are people saying?
All right, we're going to have to get through these fairly quickly, guys. Sorry, I got some volleyball to get to here in the next hour and a half, so let's get to it. Justin Orton, speak it. What would Mahomes need to do to get the MVP?
Play more like what he played like last week. If he plays like that for the next 9 weeks, Patrick Mahomes will win MVP because they'll get the 1 seed, and voters always like to go. You notice voters always go with the 1 seeds. Whoever the quarterback is for the 1 seed, they usually win MVP. So when the Chiefs get the 1 seed and Patrick throws for 30 touchdowns, keeps his interceptions to like 12 to 14.
If we lose maybe one game, that's not even a game that's important because we have already locked up the 1 seed.
Yeah,
that helps Pat a lot too.
And I think Patrick is going to start playing like that. I think because right now, what's he at? 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
If he scores 2 touchdowns a game for the next 9, that's 18 more touchdowns, 29 touchdowns.
If he goes out and throws 2 against the Broncos, throws no picks, clean game, 250-plus passing yards, 2 tutties, beat the Broncos by 10.
He's still currently third in MVP odds.
If we beat the Bills, bro.
Yeah.
If we beat the Bills, I think he's a lock.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Lamar's doing his thing right now, but
they have 3 losses and one of them to the Chiefs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next one from our guy Shaggy Shane. Would you say the Bills' 2024 number 1 draft pick, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 Coleman, is playing better than Xavier Worthy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Production-wise, sure. Yeah.
Without question.
I mean, he was drafted higher, too, so, I mean, he was definitely...
Was he? I thought the Chiefs traded with the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 Coleman was a second-round pick, I thought. Wasn't he?
I mean, honestly, it's pretty close.
Or late first.
He hasn't many touchdowns as Xavier yet, but he's definitely... he's been more consistent in the passing game, I'll give him that for sure. But I still 100% believe Xavier Worthy is going to be the better NFL player and is going to be the better weapon, especially in this offense. I think he's going to be unlocked here pretty soon. Appreciate you, Shaggy. Let's see. Chiefs fan in Colorado. Hey, Lance, last time we spoke in person, well, this was less of a question, more of a shout-out situation here, and we want to give our people love. Hey, Lance, last time we spoke in person was at John Stoner's last family reunion. The Incredible Chief, Jeff Christensen, and myself are hosting a Hope Kids drive today in KC. Would appreciate a shout-out.
100%.
Shout
I remember you, bro. We had a great, I believe his name is Jerome, if I'm not mistaken. Had a great conversation with you, man. I think we've talked a few times at Chiefs games. I know Jeff's my dude. They are some of the most giving and loving Chiefs fans I've ever met in my life. Jeff Christensen has an incredible story. Very charitable man. He's humbled me every time I've talked with him about the things he does. He's a big biker guy too, which I always respect because Trevor and I grew up around bikes. Our grandpa So Hope Kids, man, the drive is going on today. If it's going on right now, give the people in the chat the information of whatever they can do to help, whatever we can do to help. Go to our Facebook page as well. Drop your guys' link on there as well. Do whatever you got to do, man. Yeah, consider this a shout out. Whatever we can do to help, man. We are definitely here for you. And I've told Jeff that 100 times over. We will definitely back you guys as much as we possibly can, because that is a drive that I definitely stand by and stand behind and support. So shout out to you guys, and I hope everything goes smoothly for you guys today for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. Our guy John Harrison chimes in. The Current just won 1-0, advanced to the semifinals and the playoffs. So shout out to the KC Current.
Yeah, nice.
They're gonna advance it to the semifinals.
Hell yeah.
That's what's up. 1-0. Shut those asses out. So
that's awesome.
What's up. Michael Maldonado. 2 questions. 1, Chiefs beat Bills next week. Does it lock up the 1 seed as Nick Wright pointed out yesterday? And 2, when do you think the AFC West would be locked, and by what week?
Well, I actually think if the Chiefs go 10-0, I think that would actually lock the West up more than the 1 seed, if that makes sense, because you still have 6 games or 7 games to go.
Yeah.
So there's nothing guaranteed at that point, other than I probably think the division, because the Chiefs aren't going to only win 10 games after that. They're not going to go 10-0 then 7 straight losses.
Yeah.
And if you look at the rest of the division, no one's winning 11-plus games other than the Chiefs. So I think that would lock up the AFC West first.
Yeah.
But the 1 seed, the Chiefs would have almost a guaranteed lock, even though it's not a lock, if that makes sense, because that would put them 4 games over the Bills and 4 games over the Ravens, and no one else in the AFC is catching up to the Chiefs. So it'd be a theoretical lock, but I think it would pretty much tell us they're winning the West. They win 1 or 2 more games, they're winning the AFC. I think if they are 13-1 or 12-1, they have the 1 seed locked up. I do believe that, because the rest of their schedule is not going to give them 3 or 4 losses.
Sure, I mean, but we do know, even if we do beat the Bills, we beat the Broncos. I think we beat the Broncos this week. It's a lock for the West, in my personal opinion. We're 3-0 in the division. No way we're going to lose 3 straight. It is what it is. I think we're going to sweep this division. But we do know the Bills are. We're going to have to keep the pedal to the metal even when we do beat the Bills, because they are a second half of the year team. They always tend to go on a nice run to end the year. So until the Chiefs beat them in the playoffs, if we meet them again, that's just kind of how it goes. They're hot. They're the team going in the postseason, and then they lose. Right. So the Bills will be winning a lot of games down the stretch. I'm not going to be. Yeah, let's not get that twisted. They're going to be a team that is going to be on our tails, but that'd be a massive lead on them if we go and beat them. And we've already have a win over the Bengals, the whole the Ravens, all of them. So. Yep. Yeah, it's nearing that point though. It's going to be a lock here pretty soon. Sell 32 alts. I understand Mahomes' fatigue, but I saw it with LeBron for years. But why doesn't he get the benefit of the doubt? I see people like RC who have done the same thing in the past with LJ over him.
I think it's because of the fact that when you get to a certain level where you're
talking about more of the MVP stuff.
Yeah, well, I think what happens is when you start to threaten the GOATs. Yeah. That's when people start to look to try to tear you down.
Yeah, you're messing with people's lives.
Yeah, that's why do you think Steph Curry and Allen Iverson and Lamar Jackson are so widely loved? Why do you think people just love those guys? Because they know that they never really threaten the greatest of all time. They're always just these fun, awesome players that everyone can just love and appreciate for what they were. They were the best at something, right? Like Lamar's the greatest mobile quarterback ever. Steph's the greatest shooter ever. But they're never going to be the GOAT of all time, like the greatest ever.
They're the greatest at something.
Yes.
They're not the best.
They're not the best overall player. Patrick Mahomes threatens Tom Brady in every regard. That's why people try to tear him down or try to always find ways to make it a little bit more of a conversation of negativity. They always try to fetch something out of it. That's why it goes that direction, like LeBron James. LeBron surpassed Michael a long time ago, and I'm sorry that hurt your guys' feelings, but that's the facts, and that pisses people off. So they try to tear LeBron down.
It's simply shiny toy syndrome. New shiny toy syndrome. Yeah. We always have to try to find something new. It's a dopamine hit. It's boring when someone's great this long. It's boring, of course.
Yep.
Because it's the same conversation over again. I did it again. Shit, here we're going for a 3-peat.
Exactly.
I'm tired of this. It's the refs.
Yep.
They're favoring them. It's because we get watched more than any other team. So everything's going to be under a magnifying glass. And we want something else. We want something new. We want something fresh. This team deserves it. This team deserves it. No, you got to beat us first, man. Yep. This is what it is. You got to beat us first. So it's always a shiny new toy thing. That's one of the biggest key contributors to the fatigue of certain greats. It happened with Tom Brady too. I mean, he was consistently always. We got tired of it too. I remember feeling that. I mean, granted, Tom Brady's legacy is a little different because there's a lot of cheating scandals mixed in there. That makes it different for me personally. But he was obviously still a great quarterback for a long time, and won late into his latter years too, and beat us. So I mean, we just got to give it respect where it's due.
Exactly.
Brent, what is the Chiefs' plan with Kareem? It looks like they are trying to run him into the ground until Pacheco gets back, but shouldn't we want them both at full health together?
Well, yeah, in an ideal world, you'd want that, but here's the problem. Outside of Kareem Hunt, no running back on this team can really be trusted. Like, Samaje Perine not really doing much.
Kareem's
and
built different,
well, yeah, and Carson Steele has a fumbling problem.
Sure.
So you have to limit his snaps, and you have to give Kareem the bulk of the carries. It's unfortunate that's where he is. And you got to remember, guys, up to 2 weeks ago, the Chiefs didn't really have a lot of receiving options either. So they had to really up the volume of their running game. So, yeah, it does seem that way, but I know the Chiefs and their plan is as soon as Pacheco's back, I do believe Pacheco's going to get the bulk of the carries. Kareem's going to be the third down back, the guy that does a lot of the pass protection stuff, a lot of the pass plays. You're going to see Kareem in that. Even though, ironically, he's the 3-down back more than Isaiah Pacheco, they know that they got to get usage out of Pacheco, who's the younger back who's got fresher legs.
And it's working.
Yes.
So, I mean, Kareem Hunt, it's working right now. He's an absolute monster, one of the best running backs in football since he's been on the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
He's the
best running back on the Chiefs.
He is, outside of Derrick Henry, he is the number one betted on player to score every single week. And he is the second highest odds to score every single week.
5 games, 5 touchdowns.
It's ridiculous.
5 games, 5 touchdowns.
He's pacing Derrick Henry. If he would have started at the beginning of the year, he might be outpacing Derrick Henry.
He might have double-digit touchdowns this season.
Yards, touches. He's already outpaced Derrick Henry since he's been a Chief.
Yeah.
Madness.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think Kareem is built different. I think he's a guy that's built for a load like this. He barely played any football last week. Yeah, loads. He's taking all the loads, man. So keep the Kareem load coming. Chase, with the next question, why can't this team ever blow anybody out?
It's not $1
question.
It's not that they can't. The Chiefs are playing a different game than everybody else. And I know that sounds like a cop-out. Yeah. And it does piss me off sometimes. I'm like, man, why is this game close? It should be close. But I always remind myself, guys, the Chiefs every week take on the A effort of every team because they are every team's Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are looking at that team like, all right, we got to get through these guys. We're going for the Super Bowl. We're going for the real Super Bowl. This is their Super Bowl. So it's a different level of intensity week in and week out. It's a long season. The Chiefs have been playing more football than anybody else. They also deal with the fatigue unlike anybody else. There's a lot that goes on in the Chiefs. And they play primetime games every damn week, it seems. Like, as for instance, this is week 10, and this is the first noon game of the season for the Chiefs. Think about that. They've played 8 games so far, and none of them were noon. That is insane. For the first 2 months of the season, they played primetime or midday. So everybody watches, too. So you got to think about all the pressure that's on them, too. Where 14 to 45 million people every week are watching them. So there's just a lot riding on everything the Chiefs do. So it's a lot different for them than some other team out there, like the Lions, who have not won anything yet. So they're out there just creaming everybody, trying to prove a point. And when the playoffs come and they don't get to the Super Bowl, that's going to show you why. Because they put everything out of the field, they blew their load in November, and unlike the Chiefs, they're not hitting at the right time. That's why teams like that do what they do, and that's why the Chiefs do what they do now.
Nice. Micah Hayes, this is going to be an easy quick question or quick answer from us, but I'm going to go ahead and ask this question anyways. Sup, guys? Wide receiver Henry Ruggs' release date is August 26th. No. He will only be 27 years old. Do you think the Chiefs sign a work-gated vet men and tryout bias, or do you think the PR around him is too negative?
No.
It's a quick no. He's never playing football again.
No.
No one's ever going to.
I'm sorry. In all due respect, that I believe in second chances, but that kid fucked himself. Yeah, he murdered a woman by driving like a fucking idiot. Yeah. So, no. I don't want that dude anywhere near this organization. I don't want that. If he gets a second chance in the league, congratulations. But you murdered somebody. You took someone's life like driving like a fucking idiot.
He's never going to play in the NFL again.
No.
That's just not going to happen.
I don't want nothing. I'm all about second chances. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here because we all welcome back Kareem Hunt and everything. There are differences. There are magnitudes to things, man.
Yeah.
No.
That would be an absolutely awful look for the NFL.
Yes.
Next question, our guy Micah Hayes. Are you guys concerned that quick out passes in space and tight ends one-on-one versus any DBs will hurt our defense in the future?
Worried? No, because I think Spags finds those adjustments as the season progresses. Am I worried right now? Yes, because it looked easy for the Bucs. Sure. But then again,
you knew 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺 was going to be the option.
But I got to give the Bucs some credit because we didn't really mention this term real quick. Yeah. I think Cohen, their OC, is going to be a head coach.
That was my take when we talked about the game.
Bro,
they score points every week other than the Denver game. They put up points every week.
That OC comes with McVay tree.
Yeah.
I like that guy. Yeah. I think he's going to be a head coach in this league. So credit to them.
Canales to Cohen.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, okay.
Yeah.
Offense, yeah. Baker's in a good spot. Baker's been awesome.
Yes.
He's been so good. That guy is just a gamer. How do you not like guys like him? So I gave respect. I think they deserve their flowers, man. I think that outside of that Broncos game, even that game they were getting blown out for a while in that first half against the Ravens, they came back and almost won that game.
They're a fighting team, dude.
Right. So I mean, granted, they had more talent on the field in that game. Against us, they had a bunch of nobodies for the most part. Sterling Shepard was their number one go-to receiver, and 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺𝙺 absolutely just de-pantsed us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that team just finds ways to score points, so I give them the credit. Chase, is Felix 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙴 a bust?
No. I'm not going to give him that line yet because of the fact that I haven't seen enough football from him yet. Do I think he's progressing as a player? No. But we're still so early in his career that I can't do that yet. If it's in year 3 and he's playing just like this now and he's not getting a lot of opportunities still.
If only we treated him like we're treating Xavier Worthy right now. But yeah, no, I get it. Like, first round picks are expected to perform, man.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
you didn't hear me call Xavier Worthy a bust.
Sure. But this is year 1. This is,
it's essentially year 1 for FAU because he didn't play a lot last season because he had all those guys ahead of him. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you had a Minahu, you had Mike Gannon, you had George Furlong.
I think the Uche move is pretty damning for me, in my personal opinion, for Felix.
It could be, or it could be because of Mike Gannon or Charles Minahu not progressing.
Uche's already out there getting more snaps than Felix.
Sure.
That's bad.
That's because he's a better player. That doesn't mean that FAU's a bust yet.
I'm not saying he's like,
yeah.
I mean,
that's a heavy word, man. We didn't call Sky Moore that until this year. We did not call Sky Moore that until this year. That was year 3.
But we haven't heard much about Felix. Nobody's really talking him up. Like, people were talking up Sky all these last few years.
That's why I'm saying that not yet.
Sure.
I didn't say FAU could very well turn into a bust, guys.
I hope not.
No.
I mean, I hope he's a local kid. I want to see him become something. But yeah, so
I'm not. Yeah.
Pretty.
I'm not ready to use the B word yet.
It's pretty grim so far. Billy Hodge with the last question.
Yep.
When Pacheco comes back, will he be the number 1 RB, and is Hollywood coming back in December or January?
Yeah, so I know I alluded to that, and I saw people question about that. It is reported that it sounds like Hollywood's making fast progress. It sounds like he's going to be back before the regular season ends, actually, which is huge news. That's what we're hoping for, at least. And it does sound like Hollywood is going to be back within the next 6 to 7 weeks. That is at least the hope. Yeah. When it comes to Pacheco, I think when it comes to a usage standpoint for the rest of this regular season, whenever he's back, I do think that he's going to get the bulk of the carries because I do think that Kareem, to that point, Kareem has gotten a lot of you guys. He's already had 111 rush attempts in a 5-week stretch. That's a lot of rush attempts. So I think they're going to kind of ease Kareem Hunt a little bit, split it up a little bit, get more pass options for Kareem. He'll be more on the pass side of things, kind of like a Jerick McKinnon, like I said initially, and Pacheco will get more of those bulk carries for the postseason to keep them both fresh, get them both ready for the postseason. That's how I see it going, but more likely, they can probably go in the opposite direction, Trevor, where they keep Kareem Hunt out there primarily and use Pacheco in spaces. I don't know how it's going to go, but that's just my prediction.
I'm cool if they go like a 60-40 where Kareem's more of like the short distance, got to get a first down kind of guy in red zone.
Yes.
Back. I'm cool with that.
Yes.
Because Kareem's clearly the better red zone running back than Pacheco's ever been, so that's not even a question. And Kareem's the better running back in my opinion, period. And we've talked about that a few weeks in a row on this show, but it'd just be nice to have that extra. Because we all know Kareem's not the most explosive guy anymore, but he's still a guy that can get you chunks. But Pacheco's like a home run hitter, right? But you get Pacheco and he hits that gap and he can take that to the curb with the quickness. But I'm speculative on what he's going to look like coming off a broken leg. I mean,
right.
He's been in a cast, guys.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, I've been in a cast. I broke my leg. When you come off that leg is weak. It's going to take him time. It might not be till the postseason until he's really kind of ramping up. So I'm more excited about Hollywood Brown possibly get back sooner or later. That's what I want to see.
Juju will be back as well.
Back in this passing game, bro.
Juju, Hollywood Brown come back in the pass. Oh, boy.
That will start going off.
Boy.
That's going to be fun.
And the best part about Hollywood Brown is it isn't like a Pacheco injury.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, I think his legs underneath him. He's already training.
He's been running.
Yeah. He's running routes right now.
Legs.
He's in shape.
Yeah.
It's his freaking shoulder.
I've got more pause with Pacheco.
Yeah.
Upside of what he's going to look like when he gets back. That's going to take more time for me personally, but I'm excited
to
get something else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's young. He's 25.
But he's a violent runner. He could easily go get hurt again. I don't think we're just going to throw him back out there like that. So I think it's going to take time for him. I mean, Kareem's been great, so why push that? That's it for the questions, man. We got to get rolling. I got some volleyball to get to.
All right, guys. We appreciate every single one of your questions. Continue to ask the questions as much as you guys possibly can. We'll try to answer them off the air as well. So ask those off the video as well if you guys can, and we really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for that. We have one more order of business to get to. Trevor, what is it called? Every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, whoever's holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Tootle will hold the L for you this week.
I just wanted to give a moment of not a moment of silence, but a moment of recognition to there was a tragic loss last week in the game amongst the fan base. There was an 18-year-old kid that passed on his way to the Chiefs game. I just want to read this article to you real quick and just address and just give my condolences to this family. An Oklahoma community in the NFL world is mourning the loss of Connor Barba, an 18-year-old from Norman who just wanted to realize his dream of watching his favorite team. According to a GoFundMe set up for Connor, he was shocked when his mom told him that he was going to the Monday Night Football match between the Kansas City Chiefs and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. She surprised him with tickets to celebrate his birthday. Just turned 18, for Christ's sake. Connor's uncle said he wanted to watch his favorite player, Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield, in person. He was a football fan in general, but a big-time Baker fan. Obviously, from Oklahoma, makes sense. Wanted to see big-time Baker fan. He wanted to see Baker play. Connor's Barba's uncle, Colin Barnett, told Good Morning America, "It was just going to be a great game. Unfortunately, their family trip from the Southwest Kansas would end up in tragedy when Connor and mom, Margaret Barnett, were involved in a collision on Saturday, according to ABC." Let's see. Margaret Barnett and her son were driving from their home in Norman, Oklahoma to Kansas City when a car suddenly veered into their lane on a 2-lane road and hit their car head-on. Barba was driving and the driver of the other car were killed. They were pronounced dead at the scene. Margaret Barnett was seriously injured and transported to the hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where she remains in the intensive care unit currently. She is currently in stable condition. The uncle also added to that the pair were looking forward to the football game for different reasons. While Barba wanted to see the Tampa Bay Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield, his mother wanted to see the Chiefs because of Taylor Swift. He really wanted to see Baker Mayfield play, and Megan, I think, wanted to see the Chiefs play, likely the Taylor Swift connection, as told by ABC. Just a tragic situation, man, and I just wanted to give them their time today. This is, we're a community-based show here. So the kid was a fan of the Chiefs and obviously a fan of Baker too. So he just wanted to go watch some good football. Being an Oklahoma kid, just tragic. Just turned 18. His mom got him the tickets for his 18th birthday. So I it's with a heavy heart, man. That I have to read that. But I just wanted to give if anybody in their family or anybody knows that family that's watching this show, just give them my condolences, because that's just that's a heartbreaking story. But it's tied to the Chiefs kingdom, and I just wanted to give it its time. But my L is going to go to Deontay Johnson, who was just recently traded. And I know you were giving him. It wasn't his fault, but obviously the Ravens traded for Deontay Johnson. Your take was to go pass block, run block. I mean, I think he didn't play at all in this first game with them the week prior, but then last week I think he played 17 total snaps and was not targeted. Or I think he had one catch in this past game. I think 5 targets and had 1 catch. And then I believe he took to Twitter and said there's always 2 sides to the story with the the Kanye shrug emoji. Obviously, there's already the guy's honestly had drama. Basically, everybody has been outside of Carolina. He had a lot of issues in the locker room over there in Pittsburgh too. I'm not going to act like I know the details of why there was drama. Granted, I think a lot of it had to do with terrible poor quarterback play over there. A lot of heavy personalities over there as well. I'm not going to lie. There's always been something going on in Pittsburgh. Even with Pickens and all that stuff now. But, I'm just going to give him Deontay Johnson the L here because, listen, I don't know if he made the choice, if this was his preferred destination to go there. I would typically like to believe that there was him choosing to go there. I think the Panthers probably wanted to do right by him. I'm sure there's other suitors, but I think there was probably a couple options that the Panthers had, other teams, other suitors, and obviously he wanted to go to a winning environment, but it's a terrible situation for him as in his position, what he does, and I called that from the jump. I compared it to the OBJ move when he went there. It was a terrible situation for him as well. It didn't work out. Production wasn't there for him. So Deontay Johnson already suffering over there in that offense, and you got their 4th string receiver out there having a massive game. What was that? I can't remember the kid's name. Had an absolute blow-up game this game against the Bengals. But anyways, Deontay Johnson's not getting what he wanted. He's going to be in a winning situation for sure. It's a good team, but he's not going to have that production. We're probably going to see more drama as it goes on throughout the year because he's just not going to get what he wants. So for that, Deontay Johnson, do me a solid favor and hold this out.
I love when narratives die, especially ones that just have never. Well, they haven't had relevance at least in a long time. Mike Florio made this tweet, and we can put it on the screen if you want, Trevor, from Pro Football Talk. This is after the Bengals lost their second straight game to the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. Biggest winner tonight, the Chiefs. With each Bengals loss, they come closer to not having to face their kryptonite in the playoffs. Joe Burrow is the only active quarterback to ever beat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. Okay. Although it's really cute to say stuff like that because that's something that at one time was, a valid thing. That was coming from me. I remember I used to tell Trevor and our former co-host Eddie Ortiz that, guys, there's only one rivalry in the NFL for the Chiefs, that's the Bengals. But I said that 3 years ago. It's probably time that we get with the times. The reason why I say that, Trevor, is because, well, for one, since the Bengals survived the Chiefs the AFC Championship 3 years ago, the Chiefs have not only won back-to-back NFL Super Bowls, but they've beaten the Bengals 3 straight times, and 2 of those games were with Joe Burrow at the helm. And one of those games was in the AFC Championship. It sounds to me like that was slain. Furthermore, since the cute and cuddly Bengals said we'll see y'all at Burrowhead, they're 13-15. They have fewer wins in that span than the Denver Broncos. I don't want to hear shit about kryptonite, Bengals, and the Chiefs until the Bengals can show me that they can do anything in today's NFL, not 3 years ago, because they're riding high off that still. It's somehow, some way, that's still a thing. People are still acting as if the Chiefs have not won back-to-back titles since then and beat the Bengals 3 times in that span. The narrative's done, and it's as dead as Mike Florio's career was once he said he was going to retire if Tyreek Hill ever came back and avoided suspension, which he clearly did. Do me a solid, Mike Florio, and this bullshit narrative, and hopefully it's
come on, Mike.
Mic drop, if you will. Awesome show, fun show. We love you guys so much. We got to get out of here. The show was too late. We apologize for that, guys. But thank you so much for those that hung with us. Guys, we're going to get this fixed. We promise we're already talking with Starcade about this, trying to get this thing figured out. I don't know what the hell's going on with StreamYard today. It was an absolute L for them as well, so they deserve that as well. But don't let them know because we still need to use their platform to get these shows out here. So, with that, for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Wither who puts us together on the back end, thanks to Red Trump Cinema, and for the entire Starcade Media family, I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 291 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here 1 week's time for episode 292, talking about an undefeated team of the Chiefs going against the Bills, biggest game of the season to this point, with better fucking. We'll see y'all later.
Later.
We got another bitch.